My BIL, let's call him Dan, visits my husband, his brother, and me now and then, about every 2 to 3 months. Every time we see him, Dan talks to me while staring at my chest. I'm mid-50s, decent looking, but nothing to stare at. On the rare occasion my daughter joins us for the family visit, Dan stares at her chest too. She is 23. Last time he visited our home, I made a motion with my fingers from my chest up to my eyes. Your basic "my eyes are up here" gesture. He did not acknowledge this and kept staring. I grabbed a sofa cushion and hugged it against my chest for the remainder of the evening. For reference, I was not exposing my décolletage in any way and was wearing a hoodie. I expressed my offence and frustration to my husband, let's call him Jerry. Jerry was upset and did not realise this was going on repeatedly and said he would have words with Dan. Dan has heart issues, in his mid-60s, so it's difficult to find a time to talk about sensitive subjects as we are all afraid to upset him. Finally, Jerry, my husband, called his brother and told him how upset he was and how disrespectful it was towards me that he would stare at my chest. Dan blew up at my husband and denied it, called me a liar, and how could I say this happened? Told Jerry to take control of your wife and household and be a man and don't allow this to happen, etc. Jerry hung up on him. 2 weeks later, Dan calls Jerry again to ream him out for not being a man and to tell him again that I'm a liar. Dan proceeds to tell their sister his side of the situation. Let's call her Debbie. She then takes Dan's side. Debbie called Jerry, telling him what a liar I am and how I'm trying to drive a wedge in the family. We are all in our 50s and 60s. Isn't this immature? For background, Dan has a history of disrespecting women openly and blatantly. My husband has mentioned this many times, and it is also quite obvious by his attitude in conversation. My sister-in-law, Debbie, won't speak to me or respond to my text or email messages. We used to have a nice friendship. We are the only relatives close by enough to respond if Dan has another medical event. He has alienated many other friends and neighbours. Am I the arsehole for having called out Dan for disrespecting me and my daughter? He has alienated me and my kids, and Jerry. I could have honestly guessed he would do this, but I was just so fed up with him doing this to us in my own